So, yeah, I don't know how many we're going to get. It's funny when I threw an open call for people to discuss Ticketgate, like I had 40 or 50 people. When I had people that just want to talk about the new album, I've only had a dozen people, that maybe expressed an interest. So we might be a small crowd, but we are a mighty crowd.
Heck yeah.
Yeah. So good deal. We'll give it a few more minutes. While we're waiting, why don't we, Mark, go ahead to introduce yourself to Chris and Christine, and then we'll go around the table.
Sure. Hi, I'm Mark Tonoff. I live in New Jersey, and I've been around a long time. I saw my first Bruce Springsteen concert in 1974 at the Main Point Coffee House in Bryn Mawr, Pennsylvania, right near Philadelphia. And since then, I've been to over 100 Bruce Springsteen concerts. And to my knowledge, myself and two friends of mine were the first people to ever create and sell Bruce Springsteen concerts outside of his concerts in Philadelphia and New Jersey.
That is
Wow.
one of your claims for fame. Yes. Yeah. And what I love is everyone has been on the podcast. Christine, why don't you tell us a little about yourself?
Well, as Jesse knows, I'm kind of an old person coming to life as a new Springsteen fan. I have only been to one concert. That was 1985, and just got caught up in life. Didn't really pay any attention to Bruce until Springsteen on Broadway. I watched the Netflix version of Springsteen on Broadway and just was entranced by the talent that I had missed over the years. So I am just kind of like a new fan.
That's right. Where are you? And you are going, you have tickets for 2 shows this coming tour, don't you, Christine?
Yes, I'm going to Tampa where my son lives, and then I'm going to go to Paris, France. Don't know kind of how that happened. I connected somehow with a spring nut from Australia who got me a ticket to Paris. We still keep in touch. It's just weird how things kind of happen.
That is great. And Chris, you're getting settled. So
yeah, I was outside. I was outside, but there's I think too much noise going on out there. So
okay.
Come back inside.
Right.
I'm Chris originally from the UK, but I've been in South Africa for the last 32 years. Been a Bruce Springsteen fan for 35 years, and had to wait 27 years before I saw him in concert when he visited South Africa in 2014.
Absolutely. Yeah, so we've got New Jersey, Kentucky, Texas, South Africa. So that's awesome. Well, hopefully more people will join us, but in the meantime, let's not wait. Christine, let's start with you. What did you think of the new album?
Well, of course I loved it. I remember all those songs, well, most of them from growing up in the 60s, and we had AM radio. So, just hearing the music just brings back so many memories. And of course, I got the album. I've only listened to it once, though, already. But yeah, I really enjoyed the tunes. I actually hope he makes another one. There's so many of in my opinion, everything that I say, people, is just my opinion. I really don't know anything. It's just what you like or what you don't like.
Absolutely.
But whenever I hear any kind of a song that will bring back a memory, or even if I don't remember that particular song, it brings back the era of when the music happened.
Yeah.
So, but I think one of my favorites was Only the Strong Survive and What Becomes of the Brokenhearted.
Oh, very nice. Chris, how about you? Thoughts?
Yeah, it's I suppose I didn't really know what to expect, until we heard the first single. But I like the way he sort of kept true to the original arrangements as much as
Mhm.
he hasn't tried to make a like rock version of soul songs. Um, he sort of kept them pretty close to what they were originally, by the ones I know anyway.
Yeah.
And I think the I think the sort of the biggest thing to take from it, is his voice. It's getting better with every year. I've remarked on Twitter several times after Letter to You came out. I don't think he's ever sounded so good. The voice has never been. I don't know if he's taking voice lessons or what it is, but it's incredible. He's not resting on his laurels. He's not just prepared to become a legacy act. He's just he's working as hard as ever to put out a polished professional product.
Very
Um,
nice.
yeah, like I think I like all the songs on it. I've played it most of yesterday morning. I think from like 5:30 in the morning till about midday. I just had it on repeat. Um, and I don't think it's going to be. It doesn't, because they're not his songs. That they don't have the depth of lyrics that his songs. I don't think it's one of these albums where I'm going to be listening to it, sort of picking up um, bits in the lyrics as it goes along. Like Western Stars, I listened to literally for weeks and weeks, just non-stop, because it was totally new and totally sort of original for him. Which I don't think I'm going to get do with this, but still, he's done. I don't think any other rock star could pull this off. They, and make it sound authentic. Um, yeah, so I'd say, I don't think we could have expected anything better from him.
Okay.
Does anybody think that he really sounded confident? He seemed so confident when he was singing.
I think that's a really good point, and we're going to go back to that. I want to get Mark's initial thoughts, and then that's the next question we'll talk, Christine. That's a perfect question. Yes.
Sure. I love the new album. He released some videos before the album came out, and the production on the videos is tremendous. With the dancers and the horns and the band, like explosive energy. And I'm not one to criticize. I just look at I have the utmost respect for Bruce at this point in his career at age 73 to take on doing something totally new. Not in a sense it really isn't, because he always has had soul roots in a lot of his music. And as I said, going back to 1974, you would play songs like the Detroit Medley and Wilson Pickett, and he's always been, I think that he said in interviews and recently that that he does have soul roots. And I think his voice is great, and I hope that he does some shows to promote the album. I would love to see that in a smaller venue. And for me, it's all good, and he's excited about it. And what more can you ask for? That's the way that I look at it.
I think very well said. Mark, go ahead and answer Christine's question. Do you think he sounds confident? Like almost this, not an arrogance, but just a, hey, I'm owning these songs.
Yes, in fact, I listened to the interview that he did with Howard Stern, And he did say that when he started listening to the songs after he recorded them, that he said, he thought, oh, I actually sound really good. So I think he's very confident. Yes, very confident. And he would not have released this, because I heard in his interview with Howard Stern, was another interview, I'm trying to recall who it was, but he said that he did record another album of soul covers, and he didn't like it. And I guess you may have heard he said he threw it out.
Yeah, and the actual introduction to the first video, when he's sitting like in the car, he goes, "'Cause that's how we roll." Right? Yeah. Yeah, I do that. How about you, Chris?
Yeah, I think as I said, his voice, he sounds totally at ease singing these songs. And he's, I think, because he's maintaining the original sound and arrangement, I think he's sort of respecting the original artist, but then at the same time putting his own stamp on it. Some of them I think work better than others. I think, is it the first song on the album where it starts off with like a spoken passage?
Yes.
I don't think that works as well as the singing.
Okay.
But Black Night Shift is just that's just sublime. That is just brilliant. It's as good as the original. Like he really nails that one, and a lot of us. I guess it's only been a day and a half, so I haven't really, apart from the couple of songs I know, I haven't really become accustomed with the whole album yet. But I'm sure, the more I play it, the more I'm going to sort of notice things. The other thing I wanted to say is, like I was at work, I stream music through my phone. I work in a photographic shop. Not only am I the manager, I'm the DJ there.
Yes, okay.
Mainly Bruce Springsteen.
Sure.
But I was playing when the single came out for Night Shift. I was playing that one day, and this young black woman, maybe she's about 19, 20 years old, customer in the shop. She was singing along because obviously she knows the original song. She probably wouldn't know what Bruce Springsteen was if he came and slapped her on the face. But it just shows sort of the sort of unifying power of music. How it breaks down barriers.
Mm-hmm.
I'm trying to think of what the word is. But it's like a unifying. It's like a unifying thing. You listen to the music. You're not worried who's singing it.
So,
and even my colleagues, they don't love. Well, they do know Bruce Springsteen. I'm playing playing him half the day, but they're singing along to these songs because they know some of them too.
So
sort of a crossover, I guess.
Yeah. So Christine, I'm going to start with you, and then I'll go around the table. I was looking today online, and there's some pushback among some fans that say, "Oh, what's next? Vegas? Oh, why is he doing this? This is a waste of our time." Karen Rose, actually in her thing said that he surrounded himself with yes men and that someone should tell him, "No, Bruce, this is a bad idea." So I'll have to give my opinion, then I'm going to ask you guys. My opinion is the guy's 73. He has given us hours of music. He has given us we have had the Netflix special, as you talked about, Christine, the world. He has given us literally, decades of joy and and love in music. And if he wants to do something, go for it, Bruce. And if you don't want to buy it, don't buy it. If you know, I have been on record, I did not care for the Seeger sessions. It just didn't click me. Now, when I saw it live on the one in Dublin, I went, oh wow, I wish I had gone to that show. That show looked pretty good. So, and I'm going to quote Nebraska, there's just a meanness in this world. So,
Yeah.
Christine, any thoughts about that? And then I'll get Mark and Chris's thoughts too.
You know, I've read just a few, not horrible, mean things, but I picked up a tone as well on some people. They kind of thought it was mediocre. But sometimes I do think maybe it's that generation gap kind of thing. Maybe a lot of the younger fans weren't around in the 60s or 70s to hear the Marvin Gaye, you know, the Temptations, you know. I just, because it brought back memories to me and I just loved it. I mean, we always had a radio or a stereo on. Didn't even matter when we were young what it was. We just liked music. And again, I think what brought it home to me was just the fact he sounded so happy and confident. Like, I loved Western Stars as well, but I think even in Western Stars, that was their little pullback of, is this gonna work? Like, will this tune work with a country tone? But with these songs, because it's probably what he grew up with as well.
Yeah.
I just felt that happiness in him. Like, hey, I'm going to sing this song because I like it. It made me, or, you know, speaking on his behalf, which of course, I don't know the man, I've never met him.
Yeah.
But I just kind of felt like he was going to do, like you said, Jesse, hey, I'm going to sing these songs. If you don't like them, you don't have to listen to them.
Yeah.
But I liked them.
Yeah, I am right there. And you know, the USA Today review I thought was the best. They said we may not have needed this album, but it sure is fun to have. And
it is.
And with all that's going on around the world politically and the strives, it's just kind of nice to throw in an album that just makes me smile. This morning I was playing it while I was taking my shower, and I was embarrassingly at 63.0 dancing in front of the mirror, just having fun. Chris, how about you? What's the thoughts on the little bit of negativity that we're seeing?
Well, you know, I remember when Western Stars came out as well. People were saying, "Oh, well, this isn't real," but he's never really, apart from maybe since Born in the USA, I'd say he's never sort of brought out what you were expecting. It's always been a surprise. I think one of the surprises is that he's carried on going. You know, like I think I mentioned on your show before, when I first started listening to him, it was 87, so he was like 38 years old.
Yeah.
You think, well, that's, you know, pop stars in those days. You think, well, that's it. You know, I've just got him at the end, and you know, Tunnel of Love's probably his last album. But Tunnel of Love was totally different to Born in the USA. Then the other band albums, which were sort of different. And then Ghost of Tom Joad again was like a total departure. And then The Rising was just, you know, again, it was just, it was unexpected. You know, it was spectacular. You know, it was like a shock, but a good shock. You just weren't expecting something so good, I don't think. Then what did we have? Then Devils and Dust, which I still, you know, that's one album I just can't get into. After about the fourth song, I just lose interest in that. The Magic again was just, you know,
exactly
outstanding. But again, he'd gone for a more tighter, almost indie style sound
Mhm.
with that. And what there was, then the Sega session was a total different departure again. Not everybody's cup of tea. I liked it though. And then what did we have?
So I'm going to
But
stop you just for
it's
a
gone
minute.
on. It's
Yeah. No, I
uh,
had a guy
sorry.
yesterday. I was on a different Zoom call, and Matt Donnelly, who is the co-host of Penn Sunday School, he writes for Penn and Teller, and he said, I wonder if he put out Wrecking Ball and was expecting it to really do well because he had things to say, and it kind of didn't. And he says, I wonder if he went, F it. I'm just going to do what I want to do, right? And so I don't know. Mark, your thoughts on a little bit of the disappointment from fans. And I am not judging them. If they don't like the album, that's great. But I
Right.
get just a little sense of meanness in there. What's your thoughts, Mark?
Sure. I was listening to the Springsteen channel on Sirius XM yesterday,
Yeah.
and it was great because they would play the original version of the songs, and then they would play Bruce's version of it. And I think that it's all good because these are songs that people who are older probably familiar. There were actually a couple I wasn't familiar with. And and then for the younger people who didn't know these songs, they're being introduced to them for the first time. And this pushback, I haven't been always positive about Bruce. I've gotten annoyed about certain things, like the whole ticket fiasco that went on. But if you're a critic, I understand that's your job. You're supposed to, I guess, you're supposed to criticize, I guess. But the way I look at it is, as a fan, it doesn't bother me that, and it's just a piece of art. He released it, he did it, and I think it's something to enjoy. And Bruce made a decision at this point in time to not be political, to not do something that is original. I don't know. I just think that I'm not really going to uh, get involved in the criticism. To me, as you were saying, Jesse, you either like it, you don't like it, that's fine. But I think we live in it's part of the culture where we have to look. The way I look at it is, who else? And I think Chris was saying this. Who else at 73 could have done this?
Yeah.
Who's going to be doing this? Who has the guts? Who has the guts to put out this album? And he probably knew going in that there would be, the pushback. And he really doesn't care. So I respect that he was willing to still do it. Because
Go
he
ahead,
didn't have
Christine.
to do it. He didn't
Yeah.
have to do it.
Yeah. Go ahead, Christine.
Well, it's just a thought that just hit me. It's like, doesn't he deserve this? Like, he's paid his dues all through I mean, we're talking about an artist that started what, in the 60s?
Yeah.
Whoever said he was like 73,
Yeah.
he paid his dues. Nobody handed him anything. He
Yeah.
worked for it. And plus, he's really been true to himself his whole career.
Yeah.
So I guess because I'm older now, and you just get this thought like, I've kind of earned this. And I really feel like he wanted to sing these songs.
Yeah.
And he did it.
Yeah, I agree. I totally, and I've been that from that perspective, that as an artist, like I'll switch hand Brian Wilson's latest CD was him just playing his hits on the piano. He didn't sing at all. There was no orchestra, just him on his piano. And it was a beautiful CD. But I was like, I don't care if it wasn't a beautiful CD. Brian Wilson has given the world enough music that if he wants to do a CD of that, go for it, Brian. So exactly. So Mark, if there's a volume 2, which it sounds like there's going to be, is that something you're interested in?
Of course.
That
Yes,
is the easiest question I'm going to ask today.
of course, it's going to be most likely covering soul songs, and of course I'm going to be interested. I think that like Bruce, heard an interview yesterday, and he was talking about what I can't remember, maybe it was Born to Run or one of the albums where he recorded 70 songs for the album, or maybe it was Born in the USA. But he just he does. I'm sure like he said, he threw out the first album that he made for the soul covers. He probably has 50 songs or more that he's already recorded for the next album.
I agree.
So yes, I'm interested. I grew up with this music. I grew up going to the record store every week in Philadelphia, in my neighborhood, buying the 45 records of the Four Tops, of the Supremes, of the Temptations, and buying all these records. So it's just so many wonderful memories. And as Christine was saying, I think his voice fits very well with these songs at this point in his life.
Yeah, I agree. Chris, how about you? I see you're on the move.
Yeah, no, it's just my daughter and her friends were just playing out in the park. So I'm just we've got a park behind the house. I'm just locking the gate.
Okay.
Yeah, I compared like if I was a famous rock star, I'd probably want to do an album. I think you always go back to the songs, in your teens or pre-teens. Probably sort of between like 12 and 17. Probably like those songs. Those are the songs that really hit you first. And I think you're always going to go back to them. You're always going to get that feeling. So in my case, it would be the early to mid '80s. So I want to do like songs by Duran Duran or Dixie's Midnight Runners or something like that. But so I can fully understand him wanting to sing, because those are the songs that have sort of formed his love of music, and which is sort of the catalyst for the Bruce Springsteen we have now.
So to follow along that, I was born in 59. Growing up, my parents listened to nothing but 50s rock and roll, my mom, and country music. So, you give me an album of Bruce singing Hank Williams, Johnny Cash, Merle Haggard, I'm there. I loved him doing Rhinestone Cowboy. I would have preferred a different Glenn Campbell song just because I just love Glenn Campbell. So yeah, I'm in. I think this would be it from my perspective, it's a different muscle for him. It's a different way for him to express his creativity. It's a good way to kind of clear the palate. And Terry Smith and I talked yesterday, and we said, how cool would it be if on the next tour he did Western Stars, Letter to You, Songs from This, and only did like 5 or 6 traditional E Street albums, E Street songs. Like it would, wow, that would be crazy. And like Terry said, I would want to be at that show because I would want to know, what is he going to play? What is he going to do? I don't think that's going to happen. I think that my hope is that he will use a few of these songs as his encore songs, kind of a, like, we can do the Detroit medley. He can do Twist and Shout. He can do some of these songs as a, closer, or 2 or 3 would be great. But I love the idea that he's having fun and doing other things. Christine, any specific songs that were highlights for you?
For some reason, it was What Becomes of the Brokenhearted, and I don't know why. I too was listening on to the E Street Sirius XM show. I think one of the other members mentioned that, and it was like, maybe I haven't heard that song for a while, like the original version. But when I heard it on the radio, that was one of the first things. I went to the YouTube channel to see if, he'd made a video about it, but I could still hear the song. And of course, I downloaded the album to my phone. But I don't know, it just, like I said, it just struck a chord, and it was just awesome that I could hear Springsteen sing it. Like, who in their right mind back in the Born in the USA era, the Born to Run era, would think you would hear Bruce singing a song like that?
Yeah.
But again, it was beautiful, the music, and I think this is what really got me on Western Stars was, of course, I loved all the songs, but just the different kind of music, not that loud drum, not the loud, the guitar, the electric guitar kind of stuff like that, but the music in this plus the song itself. I don't know, it was just really kind of magical for me. And again, I've mentioned this before, Jesse, and I don't want to just keep repeating myself, but maybe there is just like that generation gap going on.
Yeah, it could be. I thought one of my favorites was I Wish It Was Rain. Wish It Would Rain.
Yeah.
And Terry Smith brought up, he goes, that's actually closest to a Bruce song, so how about you, Mark? Things that stand out to you?
Yeah, I don't think I've heard every song yet, but
Okay.
I'm looking at the list here. Night Shift, watch the video, tremendous, very heartfelt. You're talking about what's his name, Marvin Gaye, and and who else?
Jackie. He mentions
right, Jackie Wilson.
Yeah.
Jackie Wilson.
Right, and then Soul Days, the Dobie Gray song. I'll tell you the truth, I don't even think I probably heard that years ago, but I don't think I remembered that song. And then
I didn't either.
Then Turn Back the Hands of Time, the video. I know that song. I didn't really remember it. Just great. And then there are some songs I haven't heard yet, which I'm going to listen to. That I don't think I'm familiar with. I Forgot to Be Your Lover. I don't know if you all remember that, but I don't.
I don't either.
I don't know that song. So.
Well, like, I didn't know Mr. Union Man and Western Union Man, and I was like, boy, there are so many things that are now out of time, right? Can you even send a telegram anymore? I don't know if you can. And so that it is. There's just a really cool collection of things that you end with the Supreme, Someday We'll Be Together, which is an iconic song, but he did pick other nice songs. Chris, how about you?
But the ones that stand out so far, like I said, it's only a day and a half, so it's difficult to.
Sure.
But Night Shift, as I said, Do I Love You? I think that's, I like that the first minute I heard it. the yeah, which one is it? I wish it would rain.
Yeah.
And then there's also that Western Union man, which I thought that one also was maybe sort of pretty close to as close to a Springsteen song as you'd get.
Yeah.
Another thing I wanted to thing is, I don't know how many of these original artists are still alive, but I'm sure the ones that are, this is going to do wonders for their royalties
Hmm.
and popularity. Because I remember, when Western Stars came up, then I started probably mainly to you, Jesse, but comparing it to people like Glenn Campbell and other people. Now, so I sort of did a dive and started
Yeah.
listening to that stuff. So that that's also introduces you. Some of these songs are like sort of pretty obscure. So
Yeah.
I'm sure I'm going to be doing a dive and hunting out the originals. And like you can these days you can listen to anything anytime. So there's no
And
reason not to.
I do think I have not done a lot of that. I wish I had caught that E Street. I will do it myself now, as you were talking, Christine and Mark, that, play the original, then play, his version and compare them. I think it's kind of cool that he didn't do a lot of changing it. He just was a
Right.
pretty close homage.
Yes.
I think that should be fun. I think when the E Street Band gets them, and I have seen, I just was looking to make sure no one was looking for a link, that there was an Italian interview and he said that there was a Jimmy Webb song he recorded that didn't make it, and he's planning for the E Street Band to play some of these on tour. So I haven't got to hear the whole interview yet, but that was one of the highlights. I'm like, oh, good to hear. So I think this is fun. I'm looking forward to the second volume. I'm sure that won't happen anytime soon. It could be a year, 2 years, whatever. But I think it's fun. I also don't think. I think he still has original music in him. When he was on Howard Stern,
Oh,
he
yeah.
mentioned that he has it. It comes to him. He gets an idea and that starts.
Mhm.
So I do think that he will find other voices and other things to share. But for now, he's, sharing this love of music that he has. Any other thoughts?
Yeah,
Anyone, Mark?
I was just looking at the track listing again, and I don't think maybe you can correct me, Jesse. I don't think Bruce has ever performed any of these songs in concert with the E Street Band.
I do not think so either.
Right, and I was you're probably familiar. I don't know if Chris or Christine are, but back in the 70s, I don't know if he's done it since, but he used to do Higher and Higher by Jackie Wilson. Have you heard that?
Yes.
I have not. I have to try to find that.
You have
I'm
to
sure it's
find
available
that.
on YouTube. Yeah, it's
Yeah,
good.
he did that. There's a famous concert he did in Boston. I think it's the Boston Music Hall in 76 or something. And he does Higher and Higher with a horn section. And it's interesting to me that he didn't include that on the album, that he's doing songs, because he can knock that song out of the park. That song is a perfect fit for Bruce.
Mark, it's interesting, right? Is that during the Wrecking Ball tour, they had that melody, right? Where they did, he talked about soul music and you had to play that. And he did kind of a Motown medley. He didn't include those either. It's almost like he said, okay, I don't want to do Devil in a Blue Dress. I don't want to do these. I want a whole new section
Right.
to share. And then who knows, maybe in other versions, because I agree with you. I'd love to hear an official version of Higher and Higher. Yeah, it would be great. How about you, Christine? Any thoughts before we get out of here?
Well, the only thing I would like to say is, and I know we talked about it in your podcast, but his voice, there's just something about his voice. It's kind of hard to believe with all the rock and roll that he did, you know,
Hmm.
that his voice still sounds spectacular to me. And to my understanding, I think he's even mentioned that he's never taken voice lessons. But for him to, even on Western Stars, the smoothness of his voice really impacted me. And then the same with this. It was smooth. There's no cracks. There's no, you know, um, I don't even know what to call it. It was just, I don't know, soft, relaxing, soothing
It,
kind of a feeling
there is a smoothness to
for
it.
his age. And like
Yeah.
I said, for the amount of years that he's really put his voice out there. I mean, he never tried to sing softly, you know. And again, I've only been to one concert, and I don't know, that was really the thing in both the Western Stars and even Letter to You, but the Western Stars and then this album, just the smooth sound of his voice for
Yeah.
somebody that's been rocking for 50 years.
Yeah. And one of the things that I did think he mentioned on that Howard Stern interview, and if you have not watched it, there is lots of it available. There are ways you can hear it. Um, he talked about that was one of his gifts, that he could control his voice. He could really portray loud, a rock and roll voice, and then also a smoother voice without really straining his throat. It was just
He
one of the
did,
gifts
yeah.
he does. And so I think that's amazing. Chris, any final thoughts?
Yeah, like the voice, it's outstanding, and if he hasn't been taking voice lessons, I think he's just been working on it himself. But, to me, he sounds better than ever.
Yeah.
And also, it's I think we're all sort of, how can I say it? Can't see Christine, so I don't know how old can't judge how old she is, but I think we're sort of over the tip of the mountain, and it's an inspiration. Like, I'm 52, and it's an inspirational, but someone who's 21 years older than me is still at his peak,
Yes.
doing what he does as good as ever.
Yeah.
And that, and it's sort of motivating, and think, oh, um, some people, they get to 55 and they sort of give up. But it's inspiration to keep going and still deliver your best.
Yeah. I well said.
Whenever, as long as you can. So that, I think that's that's one of the amazing things about it.
I totally agree. Well, thank you,
just,
Mark. Go ahead,
I just had a
please.
couple things I just wanted to
Sure.
say.
Please.
Number one, something that just came to mind, that you probably know, Jesse, that over the years, Bruce has done a number of benefit concerts at the Stone Pony in Asbury Park for, I think it's Boston College. Do you know about this?
Please tell me more.
Okay. Bruce has, I think his son went to Boston College, and he would have these private events, very expensive, like $1,000 a ticket. And he would be there, Patty, and he would have not the full E Street Band, maybe members of the band, a horn section. And he would always, and most of the songs he would do I never went, I never got in, but most of these
Yeah.
shows, if you look at the set list, they were all pretty much all soul cover songs. And he would be doing a lot of duets with Patty. So I was just remembering that. The other thing is that I just want to mention, if you already don't know, that next Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday, November 14th, 15th, and 16th, Bruce is going to be the musical guest on The Tonight Show with Jimmy Fallon. And there's going to be a special Thanksgiving show with Jimmy Fallon. And I think Bruce may be hosting, I'm not sure, November 24th, Thanksgiving Eve.
Wow.
So next Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday, and then Thanksgiving Eve, Bruce is going to be on the Jimmy Fallon Tonight Show.
Okay. Yes. I do know that. I've already got the DVR set. I'm excited about it. Yes, very much. Good. Any other final thoughts before we get out of here?
I really enjoy your little talks about Bruce, Jesse. I don't have many people that I can really discuss it with. I'm the fan of the family, and everybody else is just kind of ho-ho about it.
Well,
so it's really fun to be able to talk to other real fans.
that is very sweet of you to say. I loved our visiting. I love you and I's fun banter back and forth on Twitter that we do with love. If someone else was like, I said, we love each other. This is great.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So thank you, Christine. Thank you, Mark. Thank you, Chris. This is great. I'm going to put this up tomorrow as an episode because I'm doing that 30 days, 30 episodes in 30 days. So I'm definitely going to use this as an episode, but I think people will enjoy the talk. And you all three were very kind to take time out of your Saturday to talk about the new album. If you end up having more thoughts or something, reach out to me and we'll do a follow-up episode with any of the three of you. So thank you. You guys are wonderful. Listener, please let me know what you think. I'd love to hear, as I said on Twitter, love it, loathe it, like it. It's all good. I just want to hear your thoughts on it. So reach out to me, setlistingbruce@gmail.com. I am at Jesse Jackson DFW on Twitter for now, and I'm at setlistingbruce on Twitter. So let me know. All right, guys, you go. Enjoy
Nice
the rest.
to meet everybody.
Have a great day, everyone.
Yeah.
Thank you, guys. Talk to you
Same here.
soon. Goodbye.
Bye-bye.
All right. Bye.